Welcome to The Realty with T3. I'm Tisha Harris, the team lead of Texas Trio Team, and we are so excited about today's guest. We'll be covering these topics in depth, but before we dive in, let's meet everybody.
I'm Michelle Duty, one of the members of Texas Trio Team.
And I am Kendra, another member of Texas Trio Team. Can't wait to get into today's conversation.
And Tina, could you introduce yourself and, tell us a little bit about what you do?
Sure. My name is Tina Murphy. I'm licensed by the Texas Department of Licensing and Regulation 16380. That means I'm an auctioneer licensed in the state of Texas.
That's fantastic. So could you give us a glimpse into your day-to-day and what keeps you busy?
Sure. It seems like it doesn't ever stop. So I get up in the morning, get ready for work, go to work. I start about 9 o'clock in the morning, and it is running every minute after that. I deal with purchasing. I deal with consignments that come in. I deal with purchasing, people that are purchasing. I deal with my customers, my employees, product. There's just so many things that go on in an auction house. We have to deal with the money part of it, paying consignments.
Yeah. And so you have your location at Magnolia Gardens Auction House. And so that is located in Hockley, Texas.
Right. Mm-hmm.
So is that primarily the areas that you're covering and helping customers across the area?
No, not at all, actually. We've now started and incorporated shipping. So we ship to customers, and I have a freight gentleman that takes all of the big furniture and freight. We are taking things now to Florida and Georgia, and also Lubbock, Texas. So Texas is so big, there's a lot of places to deliver. But we've incorporated that, and I take consignments from really anywhere.
And is it antiques only, or?
No, it's not. It started out as being antiques, and most of the things came from homes that people may have passed away, and the families would hire me to take care of, take care of all those treasures. But now things come from other auction houses. The pandemic changed things a lot. With all the store closures, we've been getting a lot more newer merchandise because of those store closures. A lot of antique shops have closed down. A couple auctioneers had stopped business, and we incorporated all of that business as well.
Interesting.
So what role does an auction house like Magnolia Gardens Auction House play in the real estate market, particularly in estate sales and property auctions?
Mm-hmm. So the beauty of what we do is that we're able to clear that house for you so that you're working with a clean palette. Like in everyone's home, it can get very cluttered with everything. So the family will hire us, and we'll either go there and pack it out, or they'll have it packed and bring it to us to the auction house. But we're going to clean the slate for you. We're going to get rid of all the clutter so that your house looks spacious and clean.
And that's one of the things that I've enjoyed doing with you is you're going through and you're basically going through the things that are trash and things that are treasure. And it makes it a lot easier for a customer, on our end in real estate, and probably for you and your team when you're trying to, sell the products.
Yes. And the family doesn't understand what their parents may have purchased, because their parents are now, in their 70s and 80s, and things are way different in pricing and in taste. So what they think is a junk piece is actually maybe something very expensive. So we help them with that too. So we're uncovering a lot of their treasures and helping them make some money.
Yeah.
I love that. So, Tina, one of my favorites, can you tell us about one of your most memorable auctions or one of your favorites?
The biggest for me, one of the high-end sales, we did Judge Roy Hoffheinz's wife. Very well-to-do, prestigious man in Houston.
I bet he had a lot of interesting stuff.
So many Astros paraphernalia pieces. I didn't really care about baseball at the time, but I grew to love it once I saw all of that. So that was probably my favorite, and it took a lot of time.
Yeah. So how long does it typically take you, like, to go through someone's estate, or does it just depend on each individual case?
Yeah, each individual case. We can go and we can pack out the house ourselves. And I am always one of the people that are on the premises packing the house. I always feel like, not that I don't trust my staff, but I always feel that I want to know exactly what's in this house and there's no mistake. And it's good for the client too. They like to know that the boss is there. So I'm there all the time. We pack it out. It can take a week. It can take 3 days. It depends the size of the house. Once it's all packed, then my guys come with a truck and they pick it up. So it's a two separate entity. I pack and then they come pick up.
Okay. Wow.
So how do you see the auction industry evolving with the online sales that are happening these days? I know you said you prefer for them to come.
Yeah.
So I'm not understanding. How do I see the future of it?
Yeah, how do you see it evolving in the future?
Well, we took a poll, and the majority of people like to shop from home now. I mean, they've got accustomed to being home. They can do it in their pajamas. It's funny because we laugh. I've been in bed with husband and wife. I've been to weddings. I've been to bathrooms. I've been in a bathtub with them. They take me everywhere with them. And I said, just please don't turn that camera around because I don't want to see anything. But they do take me with them, so it's more convenient for them. And I think it's about convenience. Everything is now at dialing a telephone, and you get what you want right away.
Yeah. So, I mean, like, we were talking about that off with Aaron. I think that's why we were confused. There was confusion there, is because whenever, like, we met several years ago, you have an auction house and you were doing live auctions. And then it was right around when the pandemic hit that you really switched over to doing the Facebook Lives. And so, you had to adapt and adjust your business in order to do that. But even as a follower, I didn't realize you were still doing lives still at your auction house. So that is something that you.
So let me explain how this worked, because many auction houses had to close. We were not considered essential. Now, Mattress Mac, thanks to him, he made sure that furniture sales were essential. So I thought, okay, furniture sales, how are we going to do this? So as other auctions were stopping their business and closing up, I had too many people that I was worried and cared about. So I decided to do straight sale, and that allowed me to stay in business. So we incorporated just doing a straight sale, like, this is the price and you want it, you buy it. So we did that, and then slowly, as things started to ease up and auctioneering was again acceptable, we brought back the auction. So now I do both when I'm on my Facebook Lives. I do a straight sale and auction, and allow people to come if they would like.
Now, do you have to sign up in order to come in advance, or can you just show up at the door on the day with your advertising and they know it's happening?
Yeah, mostly people will come and make a reservation, and it's just small little parties, 5, 10, maybe 2, maybe nobody. But I love when people come. It just drives me. It lets me have a conversation. It's kind of boring to look at myself all the time and talk to myself in the camera, but people are energy, and that energy drives me, and I feel I do a better job when people are there. So I love it.
Yeah, and I mean, that's why we decided to do a podcast. Yes, we're real estate agents. Yes, we have a successful team, but we know there are people like you that were impacted, and everybody seems so divided. And so now we're trying to bring everybody back together to have those conversations and get things rolling again.
The thing is that we all do need each other. It's a really small world. And especially when I see on my feeds when people are connected that were from totally different entities, and then all of a sudden they see their name on the screen and they're like, oh my gosh, I grew up with you. So it's just really a neat thing to see. But in retrospect, we are all connected and we do need each other.
100%.
Small businesses rely on each other.
So I'm sure, managing an auction house, in person or online is very demanding. So how are you balancing a hectic schedule and your personal life?
Well, I'm not really good at that. I'll be honest.
Is anybody?
Is anybody? Yeah. I am a workaholic and I do work a lot, but I feel that as a small business owner, I've got a lot of pride in what I do, and I want to make sure that all of my customers are taken care of, and I just feel 100% if I'm there doing it. Not that my staff can't do it, but it's not me. I'm the product. I'm the one that is responsible if something breaks or gets lost or whatever. I'm the one that they go to. So I like to be there. I try to take a vacation. I have a beach house, so I try to get there even if it's for an afternoon every once in a while, and I make sure that we do that. And family will tell you when they need you. And that actually just happened to me, that my husband said, okay, it's time for you to be home. So I stayed home a little bit and took a little break, but we make time. You have to make time for yourself.
Yeah, absolutely. So what are some of you have a beach house, but what are some of your favorite ways to unwind after a chaotic schedule?
Spending time with my grandchildren. I think that's probably the best remedy for me. They make me happy, and I don't have to think very much about anything except having fun with them. So that's probably the best. I do like to travel. I've been to Italy just recently, and Alaska, and that's, like I said, very important to make time for those things.
Yeah.
And of course, shop. I like to shop.
So Tina, we know you are so motivated and a hard worker. How do you keep your team motivated and maintain that positive work environment?
We do, well, Christmas is very important to me. I cook for my staff at Christmas time. So we have little meetings like that in my home. I invite them. They come to my home. I cook for them. They are treated like the boss. They are taken care of. I think it's really important that although you have to have a boss and you have to have a leader, I realize that my staff is what makes me. If they're not doing their job and they're not good, I'm not good. So it's a big reflection of myself. So I think in realizing that, I make sure that they are acclimated. They get it's funny, they get bubblegum money. So bubblegum money is something that when they do a good job, I want them to be noticed, and here's an extra $40 just because. So that means a lot. Of course, I tell them they do a good job, but treating them to your home, I think, is really important.
Absolutely. Yeah. Those little touches, I'm sure, means a lot more than what you think.
Just saying, oh yeah, thanks, you did a good job.
Exactly.
So you said you cook for them, and you've been to Italy. And so was that an influence of growing up that cooking was really important, or is that just a passion you've had?
I'm really not, I don't really cook like I used to cook, but I am Italian, and it is cooking is love. It is love. It's a way that you show that you love your husband, your children, your family. It's just it's emotion. It's love. And so I love my staff. I really love my staff. I'm the mom. They're going to get yelled at, but in the next 2 seconds they're going to get a hug.
Yeah.
I love my staff.
Yeah. And did it take you a long time to find the perfect people, or did you mold as you were finding people?
It's really difficult to find the right people. It's difficult because I expect a lot. And I want them to read my mind, and it takes a little bit for them to know what I like, what I want, and once they get it, then everything's so smooth.
Yeah.
And they get it. Has there ever been anybody that didn't? Yes, there has, and there's been some disappointment, but there's got to be people that you hire that you know in your gut right away that this is going to be a good one or not. We don't go through many changes. The oldest staff member that I have is, he's been with me 15, 16 years, a long time. I knew him when he was a baby. I mean, really, a baby. So I'm like his mom. People think that I am his mom. And then probably the youngest one is maybe 2 years. So they don't really leave. I don't expect this to be a full-time job for everybody. It's a stepping stone. It's a stepping stone to get to where they want to go. And they've learned a lot by working at the auction house. Just being on time is the real important thing. Just being on time and getting to work on time and not being sick. And once you can get that and understand the importance of work, then your work ethics are going to be fine for what other job you have.
Yeah, just setting the standard high, you know, when they even start. Yeah.
What inspired you to become an auctioneer?
Well, I had some family heirlooms in an auction, and it didn't go as positive as I would have liked it to have gone. So, of course, being who I am, you know, I was a principal before it was school. Oh. So I was going to take over this person and help her succeed as to why my things weren't getting sold and paid for. And so anyways, I started working in the industry, and then it escalated from there. But it all started with just having my family's things in there and not being the great turnout that I wanted it to be.
I understand that.
So can you, besides, you know, being disgruntled and having to go through that process, can you talk about the journey as an entrepreneur and how you overcome those challenges of being someone that's brand new from a completely different industry and going into being an auctioneer?
So my personality is pretty driven, and one thing that I have always instilled in myself and my family is never say no. Never say no, never say you can't, because you can. You can do whatever you set your heart and your mind to doing. So an auctioneer was mostly a men's business. And when I first did this, I've been going on now almost 20 years in this industry. When it first started, I was this little blonde, doesn't know what she's doing kind of little girl. And it took a lot of time to gain the respect. And then I would say probably maybe 8 years into it, they saw that I wasn't going anywhere and that I was still here. And I actually became one of the first auctioneers to own my own building instead of rent. So now I really gained some
notoriety.
Yes, and respect. And that took some time, but you just have to keep going. If it's what you want to do, you just keep going. And I did. I never gave up. It was hard sometimes, and it was a lot of work and a lot of grit and a lot of money, but I loved it. It was Christmas every single day for me. I loved it.
I love seeing women break through the glass ceiling, you know. It's so cool. Yeah.
So, Tina, what would be your main piece of advice for other women that are looking to break into the male-dominated industries?
Hopefully there's not too much of that anymore. We've come a long way, baby. We really have. And hopefully there's not too much of that anymore. But be smart. Show that you are smart. Don't use your sexuality. Don't use, any of that to get what you want. You've got brains and you can do this. And if you want to do it, you don't let anyone stand in your way. You just do it.
Whenever you had like a different career, you were a mom, you were doing all these other things, and then that situation with your family happened and their heirlooms and all that, and you weren't happy with that. So when you got into auctioneering and what that looked like, did you just know like that was your passion, that's what you were here and why you were put on earth to do those things?
No, I actually the opposite. I never liked secondhand things. I never went to garage sales. I never did that growing up, although my mom loved it. And she'd be laughing at me now because she sees what I do. But when I saw how important it was to help these people not just get rid of their things, but to actually let somebody else enjoy their things. That was important to them. And when I met a lot of my clients and customers, most of them are elderly and still are elderly people that need to start liquidating. And there's a lot of their life in their items. And I think I realized that their items are so important to them. We're not supposed to think as material things, but you have to realize what might be real easy for us now took them weeks of work to be able to afford, and a lot of hard work. So it became very important to them. And I saw that. And when I saw how happy they were that somebody else would actually really like their item or enjoy it, that just rocked my world. I mean, I was doing a service for both, for the seller and the buyer. And I just became more and more driven in helping them. I think in helping them find places for their special items. Mm-hmm. And it evolved from that.
Yeah. So it became, is it more of the love of the client, the love of the customer, the love of the experience than it is of, I'm selling your stuff?
Yes. It's not just I'm selling your stuff. I mean, I am showing somebody else your vulnerability, your home, your items that mean everything to you. Mm-hmm. So yes, it's more about the person. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. I love my customers. My customers have become a lot of my friends. When we had the in-house auctions, it was a little bit more different. It was more personal. But I still do see a lot of my customers now when they come and pick up. And I still am invited to weddings and birthday parties and outings and dinners. It's more than just selling your stuff and what can you buy from me. One thing I want to point out, because I've had this philosophy since I started. I looked at a tape that I had done, kind of refreshed my memory a little bit. No matter if you spent $25 every auction with me, or you spent $2,000, you are just equally as important. You're equally as important. You might not shop all the time with me and spend $2,000, but that person that's spending $25 with me every single time and with me every single time, it's equal. Nobody's more important. They're both the same for me.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And I think that it's real important that we need to understand that. Don't go just where you think it's greener. Don't go after that, because then you're going to lose in the end. You have to treat everybody the same.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So have you blossomed a lot, I'm sure, over the years and, developed relationships, but can you talk about a challenging moment in your journey of being an entrepreneur or just in your business overall and how you have learned to overcome it?
I think the biggest challenge is how things are right now. And what I mean by that is, of course, we're all competitive and we all want, that customer or that client, but we have to do things with grace and not step on people's toes to get what we want. And I think some people overlook that, and they'll do whatever it takes, even if it hurts somebody. And I can give you an example. the way that things are now with how we do Facebook Live, it's pretty transparent. Everyone sees my customers. Everyone can talk and communicate. When it was in-house, it was a little bit more secretive. Nobody knew who was bidding or what that person's story was. But now it's more friendly and open and communication. Well, the problem that happens, and that could happen, is there's some underhandedness where, somebody knows who my big buyer is. So if they're selling product, they can easily go to that big buyer and say, hey, I have that, and, I'd like to do business with you. You're stepping on a lot of toes. It takes a lot of people, it takes a lot of advertising and time and money even to form that relationship. And so now it's become a lot easier for someone to just grab that. So I think what we need to remember is etiquette and what's right and what's wrong. Work to make yourself successful, not try to ride on someone else's coattails.
Yeah, true that.
Mm-hmm.
And so whenever you have people online and all of that, like you have people that are probably just can be hateful online as well. Like, do you have somebody that's moderating, or do you have an admin that's handling all that?
Well, I'm really old school, and a lot of this technology just wipes me away. So I've got some younger guys on my team, and they'll monitor, if something looks like it's getting a lot out of control. And mostly I really haven't had too much of that. Maybe sexual innuendos, or someone being crazy like that, and they'll just block them and, knock it out of the park. But I haven't had too much of that. It's real easy because people can hide behind that keyboard and say whatever they want. And I know I've sat in on some other selling avenues, and I've seen some really bad things happen. And I know that some of it is jealousy and competition. And, there is enough for everybody if we just shared, just shared.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So looking back on your journey so far, what is the most important lesson that you have learned that you'd like to share with our listeners, or even yours?
We're all in this together. We've started in the same place, and we're going to end up in the same place. And hopefully that you can look at yourself in the mirror every day because you did the right thing. And just do the right thing. What you would want done to you. Simple. Just simple what you were taught from your mom and dad.
And you can go to sleep at night
with peace. Sleep at night with peace.
Yeah.
Yep.
Is there anything else that you'd like to share before we conclude this episode with you?
Well, maybe I can sell that cup for you.
This cup?
That magical cup.
Let's see. Should she sell the cup, or maybe she should sell this bag?
All right. So auctioneering is something that doesn't always come naturally, and there's some that are better than others, and different items that you're selling require different kind of auctioneering skills because you have to acclimate to your customers. I am a gallery auction, basically, so I deal a lot in just regular people buying things for their home or store owners buying things for their shops. Not cattle and not cars, they're a little bit quicker. So if I'm going to sell this beautiful bag to you, I'm going to say, you know what, Tisha, look at this bag. It's encrusted with some silver bling. $50 opens it up. 50 to bid now. 50 got 50 now. 75. We'd be 75. This is worth 75. Let's go. I've got 75 now. 125. Let's go, ladies. You want this bag. I've got 125. 125 now. 150. Will you be 150? 150 now. 175. Will you be 175 now? 2 now. 2. I've got 175 now. 2. 175 now. 2 now. 2. Will you be 2? I've got 175. Looking for 2. Selling at 175. Buyer number 10. Buyer 10. Buyer 10.
That's so cool. That was awesome. So we had asked you before we got on here, but what specifically is that called?
Chanting.
Chanting. Mm-hmm. Okay. And so you have just chanted yourself in our hearts, and this is actually a gift for you.
Well,
We
thank
want
you.
to have
I
this.
bought my own bag.
It's $175.
Ooh, thank you very much. Thank you so much for having me today. It was my pleasure.
Yes, and so thank you so much, Tina Murphy, for sharing your insights and experience with us on The Real Tea with T3. Don't forget to subscribe to us on our YouTube channel, follow us on Facebook and on X, and visit our website at texastrioteam.com for more episodes and updates. Tina, where can our listeners find you if they want to connect with you or if they want to learn more about Magnolia Gardens Auction House?
Sure. We're on Facebook, and it's under Magnolia Gardens Auction House. I hold auction every Tuesday at 6 p.m. on Facebook Live and on Saturday at 7 p.m. We do hold special auctions during the week, and we do have one tomorrow, and that will be Thursday. It's a jewelry auction, so you might want to check it out, but it's just Facebook Live.
Awesome. So until next time, keep sipping the real tea with us and living your best life.